I'm Rich.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Othello.
I'm Jelly.
And we made her go last because she hasn't seen Endgame. So before we get started, spoilers. Spoilers.
On everything.
Spoilers. Spoilers. I don't know. What else can I say? What else? Hey,
You've been
don't
warned.
get mad at us. Yeah. See, she hasn't even seen it yet. And so, sucks to be her. Don't let it be you.
God, with the amount of money they made, it's hard to believe that anybody hasn't seen it yet.
Sorry, they haven't gotten.
Just
They
Jelly.
haven't gotten my money yet. They just. Oh well.
Jelly is the reason it's not over $2 billion right now because she hasn't gone to go
That's all right.
see
They've
it.
got mine a couple times, so I think I made up for you, Jelly.
They're getting mine some more this weekend.
I know at least a couple people who've gone 2. I know one that's gone 3 times. So
9 out.
Already?
Boy, wow.
That is
Holy
just-
crap.
Got him 2 more times for me.
So yeah, pregnancy's not an excuse. Just saying. All right. Anyway, let's get started and talk about Game of Thrones because we're also going to talk about that. Spoilers. Spoilers. Season 8, Episode 3, Battle of Winterfell.
How do I get to go first?
I'll start.
Because-
Oh, wait, no.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
know,
watching Game of
because
Thrones.
I'm not asking
so-
Rich. That's why.
How about back to you, Jelly?
Back to me. You know what?
What did you think?
Wow. So much closure. So much. So much I couldn't see. It really. I know it was a night battle. I get that. I absolutely understand that. I think there were those parts where you really couldn't see stuff, but at least the most important stuff with the details you could see. Yeah, the Dothraki was. Wow. Like, Melisandre, hello, girlfriend.
see, I
Go
couldn't
on.
see. I didn't know that they were dying.
Oh!
All I saw was
Really?
darkness, and then the lights went out. I was like, huh, that was
That
weird.
was the point.
And then
The
the
lights went
horses
out.
ran back. I was like, oh, okay, they all
Yeah.
died. I couldn't tell. I had no idea. I
I
assumed.
figured it out, but it was kind of like, you're like, oh, that's really cool. Melisandre lit up all their swords or their whatever she said swords.
My
right?
first idea was, they thought of a creative way to light
Light
the
the
scene
scene.
so you could know what was going on, and then that lasted like 5 seconds, and then it was all pitch black.
I saw an awesome meme and it said, shout outs go out to Drogon, Rhaegal, Melisandre, and the Moon for trying to light up that dark battle because nobody could see anything. Now the
wasn't it-
cinematographer though,
Wasn't it like, it was like fireflies. They were like, oh, that looks so cool. And John and Danny are watching and we're like, oh, the fireflies are going up there. And I'm like, there are no more fireflies.
yeah, your whole, let's not even talk about how poor the battle plan was. That your entire cavalry just got wiped out.
Yeah.
You have no cavalry support.
My
Why send
question,
everybody?
my
at one
question
time?
is, they lit them up, and they started to charge, and you couldn't see the enemy yet. That's what I had a problem with. You are going to charge them.
Apparently, you could. Okay, the cinematographer says that when he filmed those scenes, that
Okay.
it wasn't that dark. The problem is us, and we don't know how to adjust our televisions, right? Because we're all stupid. But he filmed it. And other people who watched on their iPads or whatever, that's not the screen that his show is meant for anyway.
I watched it on the TV at home.
So
I did, too.
the interviewer asked him again. He's like, "No, I'm not backing down on it. I filmed it. I know it wasn't dark enough." I'm like, "Well, you're a tool. Number one, sorry, bro. No, not sorry. But the other thing is, you're too dumb to operate your brand new TV. So maybe you should, I don't know,
I have a smart TV.
not
It is
smart
not.
enough, apparently,
Yeah, it's
And
supposed
it was
to-
dark. It was dark in the room.
and full of tears."
I mean,
No, but I'm sorry.
I got why he did it. I really did it. It did. The first 15 minutes, you could feel the suspense, and I really did like the shot where they're standing there and all you see is darkness in front of you, and then little wisps. I got why he did it. He just overdid it.
What I did like was that when they got into Winterfell, it went from like a fantasy medieval kind of setting to a horror movie.
Yeah.
It was just brutal.
Yeah.
And if you don't like zombies, and I like zombies, but I like the Walking Dead slow zombies, because as you can see, I'm not that fast. So I don't like the fast zombies. World War Z, 30 Days Later, fast zombies. Don't like them. And so the fast zombies weren't cool. My wife she is not a horror person at all. So the Night Army she was been mad at me for like a whole season because she thinks I tricked her into watching a show that has zombies in it, and she think I tricked her into doing it on purpose.
I had no idea they were in there. I had no idea when I started watching this that they were in there.
Yeah, see, honey, I didn't either. Don't be mad at me.
They were a whisper for seasons and seasons.
So I thought the payoff was good and bad, because what a lot of people are upset about is that there were no A-list deaths.
I thought it was too tidy. I feel
There
like
was
it all
only-
just kind of...
I definitely was expecting after all that build up
if your name was in the
episode
credit,
2 that somebody
if your name was in the intro credits, you
sacred
lived.
to me was gonna be,
Yeah.
You know what? I will say Jorah was really important to me.
Oh yeah, he did die. Jorah died. Theon died. I'm just gonna tell you. Theon died. Jorah died. My personal favorite, Lyanna Mormont died.
Hello.
That little
Hey,
kid
was
Bella
the best
Ramsey. Amazing.
And then,
that was the best one.
Ed. Dolores Ed.
Ed.
Their friend from the Night Watch,
Yes.
died. But
And
there's
then the
several
two that
times
you
I
were
thought
expected to die.
I thought Brienne died a couple times. I thought Sam died a couple times, and later on you see him. I'm like, what?
Well, no, I was
Right.
really surprised to see the three of them up against that wall.
Podrick
Jamie,
and Brienne and Jamie.
Jamie. Yeah, I was
Who-
really
Come on, I mean,
up
Jamie's
against
good,
the wall,
but
still defending.
She was up against the wall and like covered.
There's a couple times I thought she was overrun and she's screaming like she's being bitten to death.
That's
and I'm
what
like,
I thought too.
They got Brienne, and then later on she's like, "Ah!"
Still here.
It's like,
there.
wow. So that was kind of like,
Tormund's still there too.
Tormund is still
Leave
there.
him alone.
Okay, so what was your favorite scene of the whole episode?
Oh, everybody knows Arya doing the Jordan on the
Yeah?
Night King, the final. In case you haven't seen
well,
it,
and
hey,
still.
spoilers.
I mean, you think he's got her with that neck hold.
She did that dope knife move.
Yeah, and then she drops
See,
the
that was a
knife.
callback to like seasons ago when she
Yeah,
learned
well,
it.
she
was
did
the
that
whole-
with Brienne too in the beginning when they first met and they were sparring in the courtyard, and Brienne grabbed her and she did a little knife flip to her other hand and was like, "Ah, gotcha."
Right.
Well, and it was kind of cool to see her do it right-handed.
Why?
She's left-handed.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
I have not read the books. I don't know
got
any of
her-
that kind of stuff,
You know
but
her
I
shoe
know
size
that
too, or what?
I know that Arya's supposed to be left-handed, and so Maisie Williams said that she had to train left-handed with a needle.
I did not know that.
Okay, so somebody is not watching.
So, hey,
the
there's,
behind the
Well
scenes.
done, Jelly.
Nerd.
Yeah.
Nerd.
Yeah, there's a.
I watch all the behind the scenes stuff. I get really mad when there's not behind the scenes stuff. I know a lot of my friends don't care about them. I care about how stuff was made. So it was really cool to see them talk about it. And Maisie Williams was just like, well, she's left-handed. I better learn how to do this left-handed. Duh.
It's good to put in your
So-
nerd trivia pocket, so
Yeah.
that when you're at trivia night, you can impress all your friends, or either make them really depressed at how much time you don't spend with other normal people, with that esoteric knowledge. That
We've dropped a couple nuggets.
we
of
have, we
nerd
do,
knowledge.
but that was a deep cut even from me.
Yeah.
Saying.
See, but you had a
something.
really deep one for Star Trek, so.
Which one I don't
That
even
one.
remember.
That one
There's a
time.
treasure trove there.
Yeah, like a dumpster fire of Trek knowledge right here. But I liked the everyone expected Jon to have this huge, typical fantasy sword fight with the Night King.
Right, because he's
And that didn't
encountered it.
happen.
Well, he's the guy who's encountered him how many times?
No.
Right.
He's going to be the hero for the last battle. He won't be. That's what
It
I
was
thought.
it was crazy that Arya has been that guy or that person to kill the Night King, and has been. They wrote that 3 years ago, and they've been sitting on that this whole time, and it's just kind of crazy that she's the one out of everybody that had that moment. Now, it was cool when she did, when Melisandre's in the room with her and the Hound, and she's like, "Oh yeah,
She's like, I'm
you'll
gonna
kill
see your
people with
cat."
brown eyes and green eyes, and many with blue eyes," and she kind of gets it and runs off. Well, then there's so much that happens, you forget what happened to Arya.
Yeah, you're like.
And then there's a really dope moment. You know, one of the generals is standing there, and his hair just blows by because she's running so fast, and he's like, "What was it?" Oh, and it's just too late for them to even react. That's how fast she was going, you know. And then she does the Jordan, and there's even a shirt I saw. I want it so bad. It's the Jordan logo, but it's Arya with the knife out, and it just says Arya on it.
Right.
Like, I want that so bad. You may see that in a few weeks if I end up getting it.
Man, they jumped on that one quick.
Yeah.
Fast.
And
Really
there's
fast.
another one out there. There's another one out there with Arya with the GOT logo behind her, and they inserted an A for the goats. I'm just saying, I like that one too.
Yeah.
She is the GOAT. That was a pretty dope move.
But you could tell that they were grooming her to be the one. I mean, why else was she doing all of that?
To kill the Hound, to kill Cersei, to kill Jaime.
Yeah,
which,
everybody on the
you know,
list.
Yeah,
all
but
the people. Yeah, all
she's
the people
being
that.
groomed
Yeah.
to
She
kill the
didn't
Night King.
have all
Her
the
fight
White
scenes were the
Walkers
best.
on her list.
Oh yeah,
Her fight scenes were the best.
because it was like
special
dancing.
Yeah, it was very well done.
Yeah,
Super
choreographed.
impressed with Maisie Williams'
Mhm.
fight choreography, better than anybody in the show, hands down. It was a good battle. Horrible strategy. I'm not a medieval battle expert, but even I know you don't send the cavalry out first with no backup, and you don't stop using the trebuchets as soon as you just launch an initial volley, and then you just don't use them
Yeah,
anymore.
well, did you hear them? They were like, "Stop!"
Like, why stop? Load them with big balls
Ceasefire!
of fire and then launch them out. It makes no sense.
They
None.
turned around. Did you hear them? They said, "Ceasefire!"
I mean, their plan was essentially just wait till the Night King appears. That was their whole plan.
Yeah, it was basically a stalling
Hold out
action
long
and-
enough that we can survive till we see him.
and use Bran as the mouse in the mousetrap, so then we can force this final battle.
Right.
And so yeah, Theon died. If I didn't mention that, Theon dies. But hey, after being tortured by Ramsay Bolton, and with the bits, what's the point anyway?
I was gonna
Just
say-
sorry, there's no point.
I was going to say it really took some balls to do that. Oh, that's
Nope.
Was anybody else shipping Sansa and Theon?
No, not even a little bit.
no.
All by
Tyrion,
myself.
no.
All by myself. You know what? I kind of like that. Behind
Just saying,
her.
they had that
No, I
moment in
really
the crypt.
liked that, and he kissed her hand.
When they
and
were-
it was very.
They looked longingly at each other as there were screams of horror and death behind them.
Hey, if you can't find love in the middle of death and horror, which, okay, and before we wrap this all up, who thought it was a good idea to hide in the crypt, the place full of dead bodies, when we're fighting the guy who can raise the dead? Morons! Why would you be there?
And they commented on it too several times.
They're like, we're in a room
You're safest in the crypt.
with no escape, only one way out, and it's full of dead people. Brilliant military commanders these people are. There's no way they're going to beat Cersei Lannister and the Golden Company. It just ain't going to happen. There's got to be a bolt from the blue that'll save them, because these people are military idiots. It's just not. But still, an enjoyable episode, although dark. Lots of payoff. The Night King is dead. No more Night King. No more Melisandre, Lord of Light. Beric Dondarrion got his as well.
Oh yeah, Beric too.
Yeah, Beric got. So all that is done. All that is done.
I really hope it gets a lot messier from here. I really think it was way too clean. Like, oh, all of them just disappeared instead of, him dying and then them having to fight off the rest of the dead. It was just,
Well,
none of the big characters died. It was too clean.
It was very clean, and since all the dead were connected to him, he's the reason why they could be raised from the dead. Did they explain that? No. Did they explain why he's so angry? No. Did they explain why he wanted to kill Bran? Not really. But, hey, he's dead. Nah. So, if you
Next.
wanted answers, you ain't getting them. But, what you are going to get answers to are Avengers Endgame. Now, who didn't see Avengers Endgame this weekend? Or who did see it?
Oh.
Well. Hey! She didn't see the movie. The Shield saw the movie.
Had a special place.
Special place in my heart. So, hey, if you didn't catch it in the beginning,
Spoilers.
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 Which, I mean, it's too late now. You've been watching. We've been spoiling anyway.
We just kind of ran into
Just kind of ran into it. Forgot where I was even going with that. But let's rewind a little bit. Let's talk about Endgame, because if you're like Jelly and the other 3 people that haven't seen it,
Right.
who were, I don't know, it's like some weird tribe that's down in the Amazon that, you know, like eat other people. Everybody else has seen it. I mean, what do you guys think? This is going to be spoilers, just so you know. Spoilers. Aaron.
So the best part of the movie, in my opinion, was probably the part that they almost got spoiled online. Was like that last 20 minutes was what made that whole movie worth it. It really was.
And why I logged off social media for a week and a half when I found out about that. And even my son, my 15-year-old, he was like, nope. And he logged off of, I mean, come on. A teenager logging off of social media for over a week? Does that not show you how important it was for him not to have this spoiled?
Well, I mean, for a teenager, this was their childhood.
Yeah.
Like, I could understand why they would do that. But yeah, last 15 minutes of the movie was probably the best part. I loved the time heist. I loved how that was a great way of kind of paying homage to what came before while making it fun. There was a lot of plot holes that popped up because of the time thing, which I have a feeling is going to incorporate into Disney Plus, like why Loki's coming back, because I think
because he grabbed the Tesseract.
Right.
They lost it in one of those timelines. Like whoop. Guess what? New timeline.
So Disney Plus Loki is a alternate branch of the timeline.
WandaVision. And how they're going to do that, because...
And I'm guessing Black Widow is going to be
That's a prequel.
Okay.
That is a prequel. Maybe they'll talk...
It was one of the first ones. I was like, huh.
Maybe they'll show Budapest, that they keep talking about.
Okay, you know what? Since we're talking about Black Widow.
Oh, wait. Before you get started, just so everybody knows, because we only have a few minutes left in the show, as you can look on your YouTube timer, and as we have our timers here, this is going to, much like the MCU, this is going to be a multi-part dissecting of this movie and also what it means for the future of the MCU. So with that said,
there's so many layers. It's an onion.
It's
a really big onion.
It's an onion, and it made grown men, not me, cry.
Okay, one, I don't understand if it's a soul for soul. You know, when they returned it, you know, couldn't they just ask her to say, "Hey, soul for soul, we're gonna give you the stone back. We're gonna take this back." But one, I want to know how awkward is it that Captain America is the one that went to talk to Red Skull to give that stone back?
I would have liked to have seen that.
Well, there is rumor that this is going to be its own story as his travels back through time to drop off the stones.
I haven't seen that rumor. It would make for an interesting bit in another movie.
They could do it in like they used to do those one shots all the time.
Yeah.
Those disappeared after like the 3rd year though, but I could see them doing something like that or incorporating it into a Disney Plus show.
It would be kind of
a what if.
I doubt they'll do that with that's going to be animated.
Yeah, but you could still
they
tell
could
the
do
story
that. Yeah.
animated.
I just think it would be funny to see him put Mjolnir on, Red Skull's chest and like, stay here, I'll be right back. And then flick it over there and then hope to get Nat back and then nothing happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because at first I was kind of like, why is he taking Mjolnir? Well, he's just going to take that. Like, that's just his hammer now. Like, dang.
No, I got why he took it.
It didn't even dawn on me at that moment. I was like, oh, he's got to take it back. It's like one of the stones. Because of the timeline. I
thought that would be cool though if they would work that into like the times where it took Mjolnir
a long time to come back.
There.
Like, where is my hammer?
Because he was off somewhere in time doing something
else.
Had to be returned.
See, but Captain America alone is one of the plot holes that you can't fill back in because
they explain it. They said when you, as Professor Hulk put it, when future you goes in the past, that becomes your new future. It doesn't affect that.
But because he stayed, it did create a
timeline
divergent timeline. And the Russo brothers did. I just saw an article about it today. The Russo brothers did discuss that, and yes, they are aware that Cap's ending. For those of you that don't know, because if you're still watching, sorry. Cap, when he returns the stones, doesn't come back in time into the present like they thought. He decided to stay in the past and have a life with Peggy Carter, which, I mean, it's Haley Atwell. I would stay in the past too. So he did, and they had a long life together. That, of course, created a divergent timeline.
Because it would have completely changed her actions and S.H.I.E.L.D. and everything else because he was there.
Right, and it created a divergent timeline. So the Russo brothers kind of left that open, saying, hey, if Chris Evans ever wants to come back, he could. Because now you can talk about Captain America's adventures, which is kind of cool, in that older setting of the 50s, and like to kind of see Cap through the ages. Then that would be kind of cool.
That would be cool.
To see
like a
some of those different
Cold War Cap,
some of those different stories like that. You could kind of touch on that because that's where he got the shield.
True. He
got it from that alternate timeline because his shield was destroyed in the final battle. So that's that's where he gets the shield that he gives to Falcon. And the other thing, which was interesting, and I felt that Bucky knew ahead of time, and they did address that Bucky knew that Steve, because if you go back and you watch the movie, and I'm sure you noticed this because you've watched it like several times, when Steve was leaving to take the stones, Bucky gave him a goodbye different than everybody else's. He gave him a farewell. Hey man, I love you. Thank you so much for everything. Like he gave him a goodbye. Like he wasn't expecting him to come back. You don't say goodbye to somebody like that.
Same way that he said goodbye in World War II.
Right.
Don't do anything stupid. You know,
exactly.
You're taking all this
that beautiful fan service callback. He knew. So then when he comes back and they see him there, and Falcon's like, "What's going on?" Bucky's the one who knowingly sent him over to Cap, who knowingly gave him the nod, like, "Yes, take the shield," like they were planning it. So there's some. It wasn't an after credit scene, but there's a little bit sprinkled in there. Mm-hmm. And I hope they touch on that in the Falcon and Bucky or Falcon and Winter Soldier TV show on Disney Plus. Now, it's only going to be like 6 episodes, but there's plenty of time for them to kind of delve into that. Mm-hmm. So, but before we kind of, as too late, we've already gotten into the minutia a little bit. Just wanted to say it's a great movie. There are some plot holes. It's great because of the fan service, I think. Not because it's a stellarly plotted film or anything like that. Of course, the effects are top notch. You forget that Josh Brolin is there, but he's wearing like little dots on his face.
Yeah.
Amazing CGI, amazing effects all around. Best fight scenes they filmed so far. That whole sequence with Cap when he picks up the hammer and the shield, and they're playing off of each other when he's fighting Thanos hand to hand was just amazing. That was just an amazing scene. That final battle scene was probably the best battle scene ever filmed.
I would say it gives Lord of the Rings the original
a run for their money. Absolutely.
Money. One of the biggest props I would have to give is managing the pacing where 3 hours didn't seem like 3 hours.
Yes.
No doubt.
Yes.
Hats off to the Russos. They did
an
awesome job.
The only way I knew that it was 3 hours is because my bladder told me.
Yeah.
I went to an early showing. I had a lot of coffee. And I thank God there's no after credits scenes.
But yeah, it had a first act, second act, third act. They were all their own little self-contained things, so nothing kind of fluttered away, and it just kept the pacing very tight, even though it was a 3-hour extravaganza.
Now, one of the things I did like, I was afraid that they were going to have a lot of the newer people, Captain Marvel, Black Panther, even Spider-Man.
Haircuts, I didn't like two of the haircuts.
Yeah, that haircut was bad. But
continue. I'm sorry.
What do I know? I just figured, But what I liked was that they did not make them the focus.
Yes.
This was clearly, let's say goodbye to these people that we have been with for the last 22 films, 11 years. Let's say goodbye to these people.
Okay.
These heroes.
On that, one of my favorite things, and I felt it, felt it during the first viewing of this movie. This was the first time that it felt like a crossover comic book.
Mm-hmm.
Like an annual?
Yeah, it totally felt like an annual.
It did.
And the Infinity War, I'm like, okay, yeah, they've got a lot of stuff incorporated, and it's cool because they have the different, directors doing stuff on it, so you get that flavor of each of the movies, but they never quite captured that. And the best way that I can describe it is I love steak, but when you have a really, really great steak, you're like, oh, wow, yeah.
That's what
the
that's supposed to taste like. Yeah.
And that's what this movie was for me. I mean, and I'm not saying that it's a perfect movie. I mean, there's a few things that, I mean, I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. I like it a lot, and I will probably see it a couple more times in the theater.
See, to me, it wasn't so much an annual, but more like one of their, because they don't really, I mean, they still do annuals, but really their big thing now in the comics are event books where they have a summer event.
Yeah.
And this was a big event book. And this was like, wow. And when it was over, it was like, okay, this event is over and the status quo has changed. And now all the books that come out after that, you know, change.
Well, okay, the reason why I'm saying, because when I was like big into reading comics, like when
the
Infinity
annual was it,
War came out, that's when they did the huge crossovers, and you had every Marvel title is doing this Infinity Gauntlet story. So if I was reading Punisher, which has nothing to do with cosmic,
you still get something.
It got me reading, you know, a bunch of different titles. It's like, okay, what is this whole big story arc? And, you know, bottom corner says, okay, check out these episodes for the part that fits in between.
Yeah, and then here's Infinity Gauntlet 1 through 6. So then you got to look at all those little pieces and buy the big, all 6 of those books to get the full story.
The way that they're wrapping up the little stories along the way and doing this is what made that feel like that huge crossover of an actual comic book for me. And it wasn't just hey, we're doing a big story. It had like that nuance that for me, it did something to me. Like I like that I'm feeling that, whether it was intentional or not. I haven't felt that in any of the other movies yet. But we get people come in here, and I like fan service for this type of thing. And, you know, I get a lot of people that look at me like, fan service. Fan service is, they're dumbing down movies for the people who don't know stuff. And I'm like, you know what? The way I look at superhero movies, yes, I want fan service. I want it to be a nod to something. I don't want it to be a direct telling of a story, but hey, look, we're throwing this in. This is a reference to issue 382. When this happens, if you know it, you get it. If you don't, it'll blow past you.
In the movie, in
it
my
should
viewing,
always be like that.
The biggest cheers were the fan service moments.
Yeah.
When Cap is fighting Thanos and he's down to his last and the shield is broken and he's like, and the Thanos' army is there's like the second wave coming and he's like, I'm out here by myself. And you hear in his ear Falcon like, hey Cap, on your left. Huh? On your left. And then the portal opens. It's like, yeah! Everybody started cheering when he said, on your left. They didn't even see the portal yet. Because it was a callback to Winter Soldier when Falcon was introduced in that very first scene and Cap is running by him, on your left. On your left. For Falcon to kind of pay it forward or whatever and do that again and have everybody show up again. Which, my funny thing, side note, my son told me Howard the Duck was in there.
Yep.
Apparently everybody was in there. Came through one of the portals.
So,
but it just happened so fast you didn't see him. It's like one of those, it's like Ready Player One. You have to freeze frame it to see everybody who was in there.
So you got the Cap in the elevator scene with Sitwell and...
the Hell Hydra thing was hilarious. I was
perfect.
Just like, that is
Howard Stark
funny.
and Frigga. You know, the fact that they gave both those characters closure with their parents. You know, that there's issues there. The on your left, cheeseburgers. You know, the fact that Morgan at the end says, I'm hungry. And Happy's like, well, what do you want? You know, I want a cheeseburger. You know what? Your dad loved cheeseburgers.
They even had the kid from Iron Man 3 at the funeral. Like, he was...
that was huge.
Everyone was like, who the hell is that guy?
It was huge. It was so bad. We even went and had... My kids were like, we're sitting around and we had watched the movie and we had lunch. And kids were like, man, what's for dinner? And I'm like... cheeseburgers. And just like Tony, baby, we went and we got a sack of cheeseburgers and we just sat at the house and it was just like we had our cheeseburgers and fries that night. That's what we had. It was like our memorial dinner. We had to wait for Iron Man and for Tony Stark because I will say that I don't want to say never, but this is the first time in history anybody has created a cohesive story across so many movies. Star Wars has kind of tried to do it with their 9 films or soon to be 9.
They didn't start out that way, though.
No, they did not. I mean, the stories were written, but they were never.
Right.
I don't think they were filmed as Mr. Lucas intended. But I don't think anybody has done 11 movies or 22 movies over 11 years telling a cohesive story or pieces to a cohesive story with such a huge payoff. I don't think anybody's ever done that before, and I don't see anybody else doing that.
They've tried twice now, and both of those has crashed and burned.
Who? Please don't tell me
Dark
DC
Universe when they did. They were trying to mix together Swamp.
The Mummy and
the Mummy.
Yeah, no, Universal doesn't want you to talk about that. I think there's an NDA on everybody.
It was obvious that was.
Yeah.
Oh, look what Marvel's doing. We need to try that, and then DC tried it, and they both crashed and burned.
DC failed because they didn't let their directors play. They tried to have too much corporate back chat in it, and they tried to jump into Justice League too soon.
Yeah,
DC has proven that if they let their directors play with their properties, you get an Aquaman, you get a Wonder Woman, you get a Shazam. I'm assuming Wonder Woman 84 will be great.
Right, but they've already kind of burned the universe bridge. I mean,
they won't have the same
it won't have the same feel.
No, yeah, and even if
they can course correct though,
but it doesn't matter. At this point, it's too late.
Yeah.
Because now you're just copying Marvel.
Yeah,
they've already done it.
You're coming up with little ways to tie it together instead of starting out.
Like, and it'll forever be Marvel did that better.
I wouldn't care.
And if Marvel and DC
fanboys, that's right.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. But Marvel and DC fanboys and the interwebs and the comics Twitters, which I have warned you people about before, comic Twitter is a dumpster fire of opinions that you just don't ever need in your life. It is just the worst. God, I hate comics Twitter so much. All of you, both sides of comics Twitter, whether you're a DC fan or Marvel fan, I hate all of you. You're terrible people. Anyway, nobody's ever going to be able to do this again. I just don't see. There's just it's like if anybody else tries it, it's like we've seen it. Marvel did it. We've seen it. Now, granted, we'll still go see these movies, right? Because that's what we do. We review movies. We talk about films and stuff like that. And people will go see them. But, God, this juggernaut that is the MCU, and Endgame in particular, which has already made $1 billion in the foreign markets and is scheduled to make, or predicted to make, $2 billion this weekend. Wow. I mean, it's going to be huge. Huge. But, on that note, because we have so much more to talk about, and I need to stop us so my timer doesn't go off again on this week's episode and Aaron has to try to edit it out. Will Jelly be back next week? I don't know. We'll see. Maybe, if she goes to see the movie. But that's our time for this week. See Endgame if you haven't seen it.
God, if you stuck around this long and you haven't seen
Endgame. Hey,
thank you.
Yeah, thanks. But go see the movie. We'll see you guys next week. And hey, F you.